Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I know we've been away more than the weekly podcast that we thought we were going to be able to do, but I think things have just been a little bit cray cray all around. So we are here today to do our weekly broadcast. Maybe not so weekly, but I thought a good topic for tonight might be talking about imagination and having an imagination. I think that really is kind of the portal that allows creativity and where you can really explore possibilities, things that you think in your logical mind that you might not be able to do. But if you have imagination, that creative part of you, I think, gives you some ideas on how you might go about accomplishing some things that might seem quite fantastical.
Quite impossible, yeah. I think that's a really good point, and I think that it is such an interesting subject because, as we were talking earlier this week, when you find people that seem truly to, I mean, even though it sounds very cliche and very uncomplicated, lack imagination, I think there is something to that because it takes imagination to think broadly, to think outside the box, to look at possibilities, to kind of think outside of what the norm is or what the expectation is for you to think about and come to a conclusion. It does take imagination. So how do we cultivate that in people?
Well, I think one of those components that's needed is a curiosity, a questioning of
Yeah.
things.
A sense of curiosity is, yeah, just a basic sense of curiosity. I think that's true.
So I think that's kind of how it starts. I mean, some of the greatest inventions or discoveries, because you could say that they might not have been inventions, they were just discovered. They were just waiting to be discovered this whole time, And that doesn't make it any less of what it is, but I think those things started with some questions.
Right, because otherwise they would have remained totally impossible or totally implausible.
Right. So I put that forth as as a as a thought and as a foundation. It's very easy to go back to familiarity and things that we know,
Right.
and just continue to, I guess, hold the steering wheel and not drive off the road one way or the other.
Kind of live in the familiar, live in the status quo.
But I think when you have imagination, there are no boundaries, and I think that's really kind of one of the key components of that. You're not trying to stay in a particular space or a particular time, or you're not
Right.
trying. You're just saying, well, what if what if I was kind of reminded of that, of just the thought of imagination, just of all of the movies that are being remade from like the 70s shows, and it just occurs to me that that lacks imagination.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
somebody somewhere created the original, and I don't know that we need to be remaking MacGyver right now.
I was just thinking that. It's like I never saw the first series, 40 years ago or whenever it was first on TV, and I have no interest now, but it's like, really, is there nothing else to like create or to write or to produce than a remake of something?
Sometimes I feel like we're on like a loop
Huh.
of, in a certain sense, and it's not on everything, but it's just on certain certain areas. So it seems like we've, have we maxed out the potential of the parts of the brain that we're using, which we know we're not using all of the parts of the brain. It seems like it's time for perhaps some mental gymnastics.
Mental gymnastics. I like that, Chris. Mental gymnastics. Kind of go out on a limb and explore the what if. And it does take, I think, it is an expenditure of energy, of time and energy to train or retrain your brain to go, oh, let's just take half an hour to go, what if this, or this, and kind of explore the possibilities. Even if you do nothing about it or write nothing about it or anything, it's just that exercise of exploring the possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like with the old saying is, if you don't use it, you lose it. I think that, part of that too is when we talk about critical thinking, and I think you have to have some sort of curiosity to have critical thinking,
I agree.
to have
Yeah.
reasoning, and it's an interesting time right now when sometimes in so many areas that you look, you're being given an answer, and there is no critical thinking. Like you can, and not even critical thinking, like just thinking. So like you can look at a digital clock and it'll tell you the exact time. You don't have to look at, you know, a clock that doesn't have numbers. You don't have to go and add numbers together. You can punch those numbers in on a calculator and it gives you the answer. The importance of really understanding and knowing how to do the math, how to do the work, really is that piece that exercises the brain, I think. And I wonder what's happening when these things aren't, the answers are given and there's not really any
Right.
kind of work that's being done.
Right. The device
To get
has
the
all
answer.
of the information. Yeah.
So, just a thought.
Yeah. I think that's a good thought. And it's easy for us to go, oh, the kids these days, the younger generation, whatever. But yeah, if they can't even read a map without Siri telling them what direction they're going and how soon they'll be there and all of those things, that is a little worrisome.
So, back to imagination, and I think that that's something that we should really look for and promote
And foster, right, exactly, promote.
and make sure it's alive and kicking.
Yep. Yeah, whenever we're in the position to foster or promote that in one of our peers or somebody that we are working with, or yeah, whatever the relationship is, to sort of somehow foster that sense of curiosity, at least makes people think. Well, why do you do that this way? I don't know. Maybe I've never thought about it one way or another. Well, why don't you think about it? You know, that sort of thing. Not in a, because it can seem sort of pedantically challenging to many people. So, of course, you're not going to just go up and challenge people in their decisions and stuff. From one day to another, it's got to be more just worked into the conversation, I think, and that is true. I think that's what should be fostered, a sense of curiosity and a sense of not just taking anything just at, well, because I heard here or this one person told me it's this way. Maybe it is, but it wouldn't hurt to look up on it, you know. Yeah.
Well, I think we'll have definitely more conversations about that.
Yes, and many other things. As we always do, we always end up having great conversations.
I think that is all for this week. It is about time for us to go to sleep. We will see you next time.